Phil's going to run through it. Right, right. That's why, if they know who they're going to be paired off with before the fact, they can just say, okay, let's go off now and see here with this one. This is where we scan them. And then there's going to be the pairing off and laying one body down on the floor. Okay. When you get through this, we don't have to lay on the floor for this yet. It's technically flat. Yes. Have them, they can still sit. Here, they can still sit and scan each other.
Well, yeah, but it's just an
yeah. All right. Whoever your partner is that you're going to do this with, and it doesn't matter. They don't have to know each other, not know each other. It doesn't matter. But pick who the person's going to be, because when it comes time, Phil will let you know when in the steps. It's going to be time to use the scanning technique. You need to turn toward each other so you can kind of face each other, so you get a good range for the scan. Because it's a scan that uses a linking between the 6 chakras for both of you. So whoever your partner is going to be, just get where it's not too hard to turn to where you can face each other. You don't need to yet, but Phil will let you know in the steps where to do it. Okay.
We're starting on page 175. And like all the techniques, there's the long version. This isn't even a long version. This is a one-pager, technique number 3. Again, they're not a very simple set of steps. And on the next page, 176, is the condensed version, the simple shorthand. Okay. We're on page 175 for technique number 3, opening the healing channels, the 1 phase current. I've run several sessions of the Mahar Controlling Project, especially in the last 3 months, especially since I've been facilitating the Kathara seminars. And most days I start with running myself through all the techniques, the long forms, on tapes that I recorded, or I listen to the tapes that Michael did. I love Michael's voice. There's something very, very comforting about Michael's voice. It's got a strength, it's got a dedication, it's got a coherence that I find very comforting and empowering. This is a great audio set, and that 4-tape video set is incredible too. The first tape of that 4-tape set was the first time that Ashana introduced the Kathara system at an expo February in 2000 in New York. And the other 3 tapes was a wonderful full-day seminar that Matt had organized in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So I would strongly recommend getting this audio set, and especially the videotapes.
This right here is for when Phil goes into technique 4. You're going to start with 3, which is some of the things I already showed you about activating the current. We already covered the pictures on that. We're going to go into, right from 3 to 4. And this is just to show you the steps that are involved with it. You can look at it in your books if you want to. It's easier to simply, really, just listen to the person who's running them. Somebody's doing a reading on them. To listen to it and try to follow the steps. If you lose a few, pick up where you left off. Whatever the next part is, you can hear. You have all of the technique in your book. So if you don't get stuff the first time around, you have everything you need. If you never even came to this workshop, you can still become functional. It's just this book alone. Okay?
I'm going starting on 175. I'll just very, very briefly outline it. Technique number 4 can seem a little challenging and daunting on first reading, but technique number 3 is very, very simple. All these techniques are extremely simple. In this opening the healing channel to rate 1 phase current, you'll just start with the violet dot on the inside of the forehead. You'll bring it into the pineal and up to the top of the head. You have your activated heart shields 12 inches beneath your feet. You'll take the Hierophant symbol, that 12-pointed star, 3-dimensional 12-pointed star, pale silver light. You'll pull it up from the Mahar shield up to meet the violet dot. It'll burst, forming a pillar, a violet silver pillar, extending from the 14th chakra, 36 inches above the head, down through the body, and attaching to the Earth's core. With inhale breaths, you'll pull violet silver energy from the pillar into that green star crystal seal, expanding and filling it with violet and silver light. That will burst into a starburst of violet and green energy that she'll start spinning. It'll form a wall, the Juradic sphere in the heart space there. What we'll do is we'll pull more Mahar frequency up from our activated Mahar shields, 12 inches beneath our feet, and we'll coat it in translucent pale silver light. Okay, it becomes a Juradic ball of green, violet, and silver light. With inhale breaths, we'll energize it with pale silver Mahar frequency, and with the exhale breaths, we'll push cords of green, violet, and silver energy from the Juradic sphere down the insides of the arms and pop those etheric membranes covering the palm chakras. The energy will start to pool as green and violet balls. you'll actually be able to feel the weight of these balls as they pull on the palms. Okay? And with the amplifying the inner video and audio, we'll simply be energizing the fifth Kathara center. We use that standard hand position when you're energizing. It'll be the right palm over the fifth Kathara center and the left palm over the back of the right hand. It's a simple procedure of energizing the fifth Kathara center with durating one current, breathing that durating one current up to the throat. This time we'll be breathing it from the navel to the throat, while at the same time expanding it around the fifth throat chakra, while at the same time drawing it out with the magnetic current from the left hand. Okay? We'll be doing the same thing. So we'll be energizing, right? The fifth Kathara center with durating one current, and then,
Energy in.
yeah, energy in, and then breathing it up to the fifth, from the fifth Kathara center to the fifth chakra, spreading it out around the fifth chakra. This time we reverse the hand positions. This way we're energizing, right? With the energizing spiral, what do you call it again? The electrical transmitting spiral. Now we're going to be breathing it up from the navel into the fifth chakra, while at the same time drawing it out with the magnetic current from the left hand. Okay, from the left palm chakra. Then we'll be doing the exact same procedure with the sixth Kathara center. We'll be energizing the sixth Kathara center with durating one current. Okay, we'll be pulling energy up from our heart shields into the durating sphere and running it down the arm and energizing the sixth Kathara center. After a few breaths of energizing the sixth Kathara center, we'll be breathing that durating one current up from the sixth Kathara center to the sixth chakra. So we'll use that same hand position we did on the fifth chakra to the sixth chakra. So we'll be breathing the durating one current up from the sixth Kathara center to the sixth chakra, spreading it out around the sixth chakra, while at the same time drawing it out with magnetic current from the left hand. So it's really very simple. Boom, 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 boom. To amplify inner video and audio in preparation for the Kathara
And
scan.
you have push and pull.
Yeah. Electrical transmitting, magnetic pulling.
This pushing this, pulling magnetically out like that. You're running the current up and pulling it back out.
So energizing,
almost like running
transmitting
a
in,
pipe cleaner through a straw.
drawing out.
You clean out the inside of the straw. You know, like it's like what do they call it?
So it's like transmitting, energizing, transmitting in, drawing out. Transmitting in, drawing out. Okay? To be very clear as you listen to the exercise. Okay.
Did you have a question?
I think for the new people it's not clear enough. The first movement, you should have your right hand forward and your left hand.
Yeah.
You did not say that.
This I did.
You know what?
Your right hand is the first hand that comes.
Yeah, that was demonstrated.
Okay. For the first movement, it's your right hand that comes first and your left hand comes over it.
Yeah.
For the second movement, it's your left hand that comes first and your
Yeah,
right
that was
hand.
pretty clear.
You're getting ready to be a teacher.
Yeah.
You're getting
That was made. Did everybody understand that?
It is helpful, but you get so much information.
But it's not the
at one
end
time.
because it's only the second movement.
Okay. What is most important is two things. Okay. When I first taught this, I didn't have a huge amount of time that I explained it. Okay. Phil does something that I didn't even do. They didn't do it with me. He explained first, which is fine. It gave you a dry run. Gave you some clue as to what's going to move where.
Yeah, and the instructions are very, very clear in the meditation, in the exercises.
What I had been trained to do was we did it first. Then we found out what the heck we did. Okay? Step by step. Do this. Visualize this. Move it here. Breathe this. Here.
Like I said at the beginning, first we'll be energizing the fifth Kathara center. So when you're energizing, you're working with the electrical transmitting spiral of the right hand. So the right hand is on the navel area with fifth Kathara center, with the left hand on the back of the right hand, as was demonstrated earlier. And I'll run through that exercise very, very slowly and clearly, so everybody will get it. Okay.
And these techniques are all in writing with pictures in your book.
They're all very, very clear and very precise.
The
Instructions are very precise. But I wanted to give you a visual in the beginning, just so you see the hand positions for transmitting and for drawing. Okay. But it is made very clear in the exercises. So we begin
by breathing slowly and deeply for several breaths, while visualize or imagine a 4-inch violet dot on the center of the inside of your foreheads. And make the color image as strong as you're able. And again, if you can't yet perceive, or if you have challenges in perceiving inner colors or visualizations, simply imagine the violet dot as being there. So you have a 4-inch violet dot on the inside of your forehead. Move the violet dot now to the center of the brain at the pineal gland. As you gently inhale. And then move it upward into the 7th crown chakra, from the inside of the head moving upward and outward until the violet dot rests on top of your head at the crown chakra. Now, call to mind the Hierophant symbol. The one we've been using is that 12-pointed star made of pale silver light, a 3-dimensional 12-pointed star, pale silver light. And visualize this Hierophant, this spinning Hierophant, stationed 12 inches below your feet within our activated Mahar shields. So 12 inches below our feet, we have that platform of pale silver light, our Mahar shields. And visualize the Hierophant spinning 12 inches below our feet at the position of our Mahar shields. And slowly inhale. And as you inhale, draw the Hierophant up through the central body current, up to meet the violet dot at the 7th crown chakra at the top of the head. And when the Hierophant connects with the violet dot, visualize the violet dot burst into a 4-inch vertical pillar of violet silver light. And imagine this violet silver pillar running down through the body into the Earth's core and upward to the 14th chakra, 36 inches above the head. So now you have a violet silver pillar running from the 14th chakra down through the body and into the Earth's core. You have activated now the violet ray of transmutation. Move your attention now to the 4th heart chakra and imagine or visualize a small green spherical crystal. This is the green star stationed at the core of the 4th heart chakra. This is the green star crystal seal that controls the release of 4th dimensional frequency, phase 1 durative current into the body. Now inhale and draw violet silver energy from the violet silver pillar into the green star. And as you exhale, expand the violet silver energy into the green star sphere. And repeat 2 or 3 more of these inhale and exhale breaths. With the inhale breath, draw violet silver energy from the pillar into the green star crystal seal. And with the exhale breath, expand it into the green star crystal seal. Inhaling violet silver energy from the pillar into the green star crystal sphere, and exhaling and spreading it through the green star sphere, expanding it with each exhale breath. And take one more inhale breath, drawing violet and silver energy from the pillar into the green star sphere. And as you exhale, imagine the green star popping, turning into a spinning green and violet starburst of light as the violet silver pillar disappears. And begin to spin the green violet starburst faster and faster and faster until it becomes a ball of green and violet light, about the size of a grapefruit, spinning in the center of the 4th heart chakra. This green violet ball you've now created is the storehouse for phase 1 duratic current. It is called the duratic sphere. Inhale and draw pale silver energy from your Mahar shield, 12 inches beneath your feet,
up through the central body current and into the center of the Duratic sphere at the fourth heart chakra, encasing the Duratic sphere in translucent pale silver light. And take another inhale breath, drawing pale silver energy from your Maharaj shield into your Duratic sphere at the fourth heart chakra. And as you exhale and quickly push 2 cords of green, violet, and silver energy, Duratic cords, from the Duratic sphere down the insides of your arms, 1 cord through each arm. These are the Duratic cords. And as the ends of the Duratic cords reach the inside of the hands, you may notice a sensation of mild resistance as the cords push against the etheric membranes covering the small chakras in the palms. Inhale a full breath and draw pale silver energy up from your Maharaj shields into your Duratic spheres at the fourth heart chakra. Exhale again and exhale forcefully and push those cords of green, violet, and silver energy. Push more of that down the Duratic cords in the arms and feel this energy pop out of the palms, releasing the membranes on the palm chakras. And continue now to inhale energy up from your Maharaj shields into your Duratic spheres at the fourth heart chakra, and exhale it through the Duratic cords and build the strength of the Duratic current in both palms. Inhaling Maharaj frequency, pale silver light from your Maharaj shields into your Duratic spheres. And with the exhale, push those cords of green, violet, and silver energy from the Duratic sphere down the inside of the arms, down the Duratic cords, and into the palms. And begin to feel this energy pooling in the palms, forming balls, tennis-sized balls of green, violet, and silver light. And turn your palms upward and begin to feel this Duratic one current begin to pool in the palms. With each inhale breath, energize the Duratic sphere with Maharaj frequency from your Maharaj shields. And with the exhale breaths, push those cords of green, violet, and silver energy from the Duratic sphere down the inside of the arms, down the Duratic cords, and into the palms. And begin to feel those Duratic balls forming in the palms, balls of green, violet, and silver energy. Begin to pool in the palms and lift your palms up just slightly, up and down. Can you feel the weight? Can you feel the tingling? Can you feel the weight of these balls starting to form, pooling in the palms? Just very, very gently lift your hands up and down. Can you begin to feel the weight of these Duratic balls starting to form in the palms as this Duratic one current pools in the palms? Continue to inhale energy up from your Maharaj shields into your Duratic sphere. And exhale it through the Duratic cords and continue to build the strength of the Duratic cord in both palms. Imagine again this Duratic current pooling in the palms, forming 2 green-violet balls of light, about the size of tennis balls. And continue to energize the Duratic sphere with Maharaj frequency, and then push those cords of green, violet, and silver energy from the Duratic sphere with the exhales down the insides of the arms, down the Duratic cords, through the palms, and just feel them forming in the palms, pooling green, violet, and silver energy, these Duratic balls forming in the palms. Your Duratic current is now activated for use in healing facilitation. And now we'll go straight to technique number 4, amplifying inner audio, visual, in preparation for the Kathara scan. We begin by placing our right palms, that's the electrical transmitting hand, over the 5th Kathara center at the navel. Right palm over the 5th Kathara center at the navel. And place the left palm over the back of the right hand. This again is to block third dimensional energies from entering the rear of the right hand chakra. So right palm over the 5th Kathara center at the navel. Left palm over back of the right hand. Inhale energy from your Maharaj shields, 12 inches beneath your feet. Your Maharaj carrier weight into your Duratic sphere at the 4th heart chakra. And on this exhale breath, exhale and run this Maharaj wave down the Duratic cords in the arms and into the Duratic balls in both palms. On your next inhale, Draw pale silver Mahar frequency up from your Mahar shield into your Duratic sphere, and then exhale, and use this exhale breath to push energy from the Duratic sphere down the Duratic cord in the right arm, through the right Duratic ball, and into the 5th Kathara center at the navel. You are energizing the 5th Kathara center at the navel with Duratic 1 current. And run several breaths of Duratic 1 current into the 5th Kathara center at the navel until you feel a mild tingling sensation, a little bit of resistance coming into your right palm. So just take a few inhale and exhale breaths. Inhale energy up from your Mahar shield into your Duratic sphere, and then push a cord of green, violet, and silver energy out from the sphere, down the right Duratic cord, right arm, through the right palm, and into the 5th Kathara center at the navel. And run a few breaths of energizing the 5th Kathara center at the navel. Okay, now we're going to place our left palm over the 5th chakra at the throat. Left palm over the 5th chakra at the throat, with the right palm covering the back of the left hand. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to inhale what we just put into the 5th Kathara center. We're going to inhale Duratic current up from the 5th Kathara center at the navel, and inhale it into the seed center of the 5th chakra at the throat. So inhale the Duratic 1 current up from the 5th Kathara center into the center of the 5th chakra. And as you exhale, expand this Duratic 1 frequency into the 5th chakra spiral. And at the same time, allow the magnetic current from the left hand to draw the energy out through the spiral. And as you exhale, slowly move your hands forward, away from the body and the 5th chakra. Imagine that magnetically you're drawing that Duratic 1 current out from the throat into the left hand, as the hands slowly move away from the body as you exhale. Again, you can take another inhale breath and breathe that Duratic 1 current up from the 5th Kathara center into the 5th chakra. And as you exhale, spread that Duratic 1 current into the 5th chakra, while at the same time, draw it out with the magnetic current from the left hand. As the hands move slowly away from the throat. Okay. Now we're going to repeat the exact same process, this time over the 6th Kathara center. That's just below your right shoulder, just below your collarbone, just off to the side of your breastbone. That sensitive spot there. The subclavians, your thoracic duct here, where the lymphatic fluid pools, right about here. Again, place your right palm over the 6th Kathara center, just below your right shoulder, with the left palm covering the back of the right hand. Same hand position we used on the 5th Kathara center, now at the 6th Kathara center. And we'll do the same procedure. You inhale, and as you inhale, draw energy up from your Mahar shield into your Duratic sphere, and then exhale the energy down the Duratic cords, and this first breath into the Duratic balls in both palms. Just for this first breath. Inhaling the energy up from your Mahar shield into your Duratic sphere, and exhaling the energy down the Duratic cords in both palms from the sphere into both palms. And now we'll take a few inhale and exhale breaths. Inhaling energy up from your Mahar shield, 12 inches below your feet. Inhaling that pale silver Mahar frequency from your Mahar shield into your Duratic spheres at the 4th heart chakra. And exhaling that cord of green, violet, and silver energy down the right Duratic cord, down the inside of the right arm, through the right palm, and into the 6th Kathara center below the shoulder. And run a few breaths of energizing the 6th Kathara center with Duratic 1 current. Inhaling energy up from your Mahar shields into your Duratic sphere, and then pushing that cord of green, violet, and silver energy from the Duratic sphere down the right durated cord, the right arm, through the right palm, energizing the sixth Kathara center below the right shoulder. A few breaths of that until you'll begin to feel a mild tingling sensation, a little bit of resistance coming out against your right palm. As you continue doing this, you get much more sensitive. And you begin to feel little tingling sensations, a little bit of resistance, a little backflow. And just run a few breaths of that. Energizing the sixth Kathara center. Becomes a very, very natural breathing rhythm, a very organic breath. Breathing energy up from your Mahara shield into your Duretic sphere, and then exhaling energy from the Duretic sphere down the right arm, right Duretic cord, through the right palm, and energizing the sixth Kathara center. A very natural in and out breath, a very organic breath. Becomes second nature. Now we'll repeat the same thing we did at the fifth chakra, this time at the sixth chakra. Place your left palm over the sixth third eye chakra. That's left palm over the sixth third eye chakra at the forehead with the right palm behind. Now we're going to inhale the Duretic 1 current from the sixth Kathara center that we just energized into the sixth chakra. And as we exhale, we're going to spread it around the sixth chakra area while at the same time draw it out with the magnetic current from the left hand as the hand slowly move away from the forehead. So inhale the Duretic 1 current from the sixth Kathara center below your shoulder into the sixth chakra. And as you exhale, spread that Duretic 1 current through the sixth chakra into the sixth chakra spiral, while at the same time draw that Duretic 1 current. Just imagine you're drawing those cords of green, violet, and silver energy out from the forehead with the magnetic current from the left hand. As the hands slowly move away from the forehead, imagine you're drawing with the magnetic current of the left palm chakra, drawing that Duretic 1 current out from the forehead, from the sixth chakra spiral that you just breathed into the sixth chakra spiral. With the inhale breath, you breathed it from the sixth Kathara center below the shoulder into the sixth chakra. Okay? This has nothing to do with the Duretic cords in the arms now. You're simply breathing Duretic 1 current up from the sixth Kathara center below the right shoulder into the sixth chakra. And as you exhale, you're spreading the Duretic 1 current around the area of the sixth chakra, while at the same time drawing it out with the magnetic current from the left hand. In doing this, the sixth sense, we call the Aurelia, which provides inner audio perception, and the seventh sense, Tristet, which provides inner visual perception, are now energized and amplified in preparation for the Kathara scan. So you can lower your hands now, and you can pair off now. Okay, we each have our partners. We do just face each other, with your chairs facing opposite each other. Through that blue-violet tunnel of your sixth chakra spiral into the sixth chakra spiral of your partner. Okay? And move your attention now into the center of your partner's brain, into their pineal gland. Your attention is now in their pineal gland. Inhale. And as you exhale, move your awareness down from their pineal gland through their central body current and down into the Earth's core. Inhale again. And as you inhale, move your awareness back upward to their Mahara shield, 12 inches beneath their feet. So your attention should be at their Mahara shield, 12 inches beneath their feet. and begin to spread your awareness outward through their Mahar shield with your exhale breath. So again, inhale, your awareness should be at their Mahar shield, and spread your awareness outward through their Mahar shield with the exhale. And as you do this, on the inside of your foreheads, imagine the image as best you're able of a Kathara 12-tree grid. And inhale energy from their Mahar shield, and exhale the energy into the 12-tree image you've created at the inside of your foreheads. And trust yourself with this. You have an image of the Kathara 12-tree at the inside of your forehead. And inhale energy from their Mahar shield, and with the exhale, spread it out into the image you've created of their Kathara grid as best you can. On the inside of your foreheads now, you're imagining the image of the 12-tree Kathara grid. Again, take another inhale breath and inhale energy from their Mahar shield, and exhale the energy out into the 12-tree image. And breathe gently for a moment and observe the 12-tree grid, which may register tones of white, black, and ranges of gray in between. And if you can't yet visualize, you can still get a sense of the 12-tree image and the areas of dark and light within it. And it's most important now to simply trust yourself. Trust yourself with this process. The dark areas represent layers of the miasmic body, areas of the karmic imprint that will clear when you run technique number 4, the Mahara infusion. Ask yourself to remember the areas of your partner's Kathara that need clearing. Inhale and open your eyes on the exhale. Michael, is Shauna going to run us through the Mahara confusion? Would you like to do that, or should I just continue? Yeah? Okay. We're going to go straight to the Mahara confusion now. What we need to do now, one person has to act as a facilitator, and the other person will act as client. So you need to have access to their feet and to the top of their heads. The one, if it's comfortable, if one can lie down, if the one who's playing the client can actually lie down, and the one who's the facilitator needs to have access to the feet and to the head.
Do we have to lay down? Don't have any blankets or anything?
Well, this is not going to take that long. It's best if you do lie down for this, the one who's being the client. And we will have time to, I believe, since we've done the amplifying inner video and audio, we've done the Kathara scans, we can just run 2 cycles of this and just change roles. We will have time to do this.
Did you get them? Good. Okay. What we're going to do today, since today is the last day of Kathara, we're going to pick up where we left off last night and run through one more round of the Mahara confusion. And whoever was a client last night is to be facilitator today. All right, and I will read through, a little more slowly, just in case. And I know with activating the healing currents, okay, this is one of the key parts to the Kathara program. And if you go through it just once, it tends to not stick. So I'm going to run through it again. You have to activate the healing currents again anyway to, reverse and play the facilitator, reverse the facilitator and the client anyway. So I'll read through it, and I'll read through it slowly. What I'm going to do after I read through it, so this is going to be technique 3 is what I'm going to read through first. Take it step by step. After we have our currents activated, before we go right into doing the Mahara confusion on our partner, I'm going to take time for questions. So if there's any questions so far about how to open the currents, if there's something that's not clear, that would be a good time to ask it, because I want to make sure that there's no confusion about how to open the currents. So that's a, it's a key part. You do have it in writing, but I want to be able to, when you leave, you already have a clear understanding where you don't have to go digging through your book and read the whole book to understand what you try to learn in the workshop anyway. So we'll go through as a recap. I have a question, or, did anybody hand out the table of contents yet? Okay, you have that? Wonderful, okay. So that's tremendously helpful. We didn't have that until right before we came here, and it was a nightmare trying to find anything in the book. So we have that. All right, everybody's got what they need then. And this evening, for the people who, this is going to run until about 5, so we'll take our dinner break at 5, because it was scheduled to end at 5. Then we're going right into this evening. The people who are staying for the round table, we're going into the introduction to the round table this evening. And this will be interesting because we're still in the process of getting. There's not a manual for this. I didn't have a manual for this until we were getting ready for the trip. So you're not going to get a handout like that. You're going to get something called a field guide, which is, I think it's about 50 pages. It's all technique, and it's technique that we'll be using throughout the period that we're doing round table work. And that's something that you would take home with you and you can use it. It's not big and cumbersome like this. It's small enough where you can take it when you want to go to sites and do field work and that kind of thing. With the manual that goes with that it kind of got thrown together, and in the last 4 or 5 days, literally, it's over 200 pages, and we're in the process of finalizing all the graphs and things. It will be available if anybody wants to order it, but there's so many pages in it, we can't afford to include it in the price. It wasn't included in the price of the workshop because it didn't exist when the workshop was started. It's not, you don't have to get it if you don't want to. It's an optional thing. But it will be the program that you'll see the transparencies up on the thing. There's a lot of material in that other book. Now, get back to Kathara. When we're going to Kathara 2 this afternoon, we'll probably do that at break, I think. We can figure out what time we're going to do our breaks. Let's see. Lunchtime, anybody back there? Michael, do you know what time the lunches are available? Is it 12 o'clock?
Until 2.
12 until 2?
12:30.
That's right, because you were running around busy yesterday, you weren't here. Okay, what time did we get yesterday? 12, about 1:30 or something?
12:30. Oh, you had lunch?
I think so. That's right. Is Graham here?
He's going for a walk. I'll see what I can find out. I'll look.
Yeah, Graham would know this, right? He's organized it, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, when I get to that, I'll do that. Remind me again when it's close to that time. All right, we're going to find out what time the lunch is going to be. If it works out and it's available, we can do the lunch break about 1:30, something like that. And that, up until lunch, we'll work with finalizing Kathara 1, if there's any questions or anything like that on Kathara 1. When we come back from lunch, we'll go into Kathara 2. Now, it's the intro to Kathara 2, but there's some really interesting technique. It's mostly technique-oriented. It's been given this way because they want us to be able to work with our Merkaba fields. When we get into Merkaba mechanics, there's a lot of information. You can have a text like this between Kathara 1 and getting you to the point where you have the techniques that we're going to be working with. It doesn't have to be that difficult to learn to work with the techniques, but you're going to learn where the concept and the reality of Merkaba fits into the other things that we've learned about with our healing. And we're going to learn to open higher healing currents that normally we would build up over a year or two before we had to worry about doing it. Right now, because the planetary grids are doing certain things, they're going to activate much faster than was intended. It's to everybody's benefit to learn to run these currents because it will bring your body to the point where it can handle the frequency coming through the grids much more quickly than if you weren't running them. So we're going to learn how to run a sequence of exercises. And again, it's a manual resetting of these frequencies in the body, stimulating them in the Maharic shield to be able to handle higher frequency when it's coming in. What we're doing throughout the Kathara program is manually resetting part of what's your natural anatomy anyway. It's accelerating your evolution, because if it didn't manual reset, you'd have to wait till the planetary grids stimulated it into activation, and you'd be waiting probably for another 2,000 years until slowly the planetary grids and you evolve together. Because the people that are drawn to this program, I have not met a person that wasn't an indigo, who didn't have the 12 strands plus in their imprint, that actually wanted to hear anything about this work at all. Right? So it seems to be like the program to get the indigos as highly activated as possible, which means highly aware, which means conscious evolution. So what we're learning to do with Kathara healing is not just learning how to facilitate healing in ourselves or in others. We're literally getting a handle on what it means to consciously evolve. And at first, it's a very tentative handle where you just there's a lot of concepts floating around and you're trying to put it all together. But what we're evolving toward, we're taking a step of learning to evolve back toward what this race once was, and what we have other simultaneous selves incarnate in those ancient times that know how to do these things, where you have little control over what your DNA does. You can control your DNA. You can control anything in your body. So this is the first tentative steps that for many thousands of years we're being guided back into becoming what we once were. And the indigos are doing it first because they have the ability to do it fastest, because they have the accelerated genetic code. We can help, by healing ourselves quickly, we can help everybody to pick up those frequencies and handle them better. So when we get back into, I'm going to start with the technique number 3, opening the healing channels. That's the opening the great phase 1 healing current. What I'm going to do, I will read it the slow way. Then after we do that, we go over the steps for the fast way, the symbol shorthand. Those little symbol shorthand pages are in your manuals for a reason. Once you get used to what the long version is, they're like cliff notes for a technique. You can use really fast, and look at them, okay, that inside my forehead, move the cranial, up the crown chakra, higher hand symbol down, it's like that down. It's a really faster way to get yourself used to it, but if you don't know what the long version was, the shorthand isn't going to make sense to you. So we'll just kind of cover, okay, we just did this, and see, this meant this meant this, and how fast you can learn to use it. I emphasize the importance of opening healing channels, because if you don't do that right, you'll think you're running frequency, but you're only like higher frequency, but you're just running 3D frequency, which means you might as well do Reiki or something else, because you're not pulling anything that's going to affect the template. So this is one of the most important exercises. This and the Maharic Seal and the Liquid Light Cleanse are the most important parts of the Kathara 1 program. Okay. Does everybody still have their blankets? Okay. Because I hate to have people lay on uncomfortable hard floors. And ideally we have little cots, but we don't. So we do. Going back to last time, I'm just wondering, was there anybody that felt any energy at all when you were working with either client as a client or as a facilitator? Was there anybody that just you didn't feel any? What role did you play in that? Were you client or facilitator? You were client? Okay. Usually don't do that. Okay. Let's see what we can do to help you with that. Because eventually you will. There's not something wrong with you. You're not feeling it. It's just a sensitization level. And let's see what we can do. I wanted to do that because I know that when I'm reading this technique, I can't do too much. But when you guys are there and working the energy yourself, I can transmit a field, all right, which will help to bring up your energies a little bit with that indirect induction that we explained before. This one right here. What I can do is transmit some frequencies just through me, and it's kind of funny. It gets all hot when you start to bring in for a group. And maybe that will help. Because I would like for everybody to leave feeling, I did feel energy running. Because that's really what it's about. That's why I bother taking people through the steps of not just learning it with your mind, but getting your hands into it and starting to do it. So I will try, if there's anybody that hasn't had any effect, that hasn't felt anything, I'll try to work with you. And even if, maybe probably closer to the evening break, if you're still not feeling anything, if you want, you can talk to me. And there's a couple things you might be able to work that you can do to amplify that. Okay. All right. Is there any questions so far before we get into it about anything we covered yesterday? Yes?
Now, I may have missed it yesterday because it was last night and late, but on the charts, on the Kathara grid, it showed where it's located on the different parts of the body and it had those names on the map. So if we're working with a client and something is blocked in there and they say, well, what is that? Is there a way we can interpret it to the body part?
Well, basically, with the internalized Kathara grid, have the numbers of the Kathara center, corresponding parts of the body. If you're having any type of difficulty in that particular area of the body, that is implying that it's connected to that Kathara center. It will also imply that it's coming through the DNA strand template that has that same number, all right, and the chakra. So what you would do is you could take it from there. If you notice somebody has like a pain in their shoulder, you can identify the Kathara center that's closest to that, and then use the chakra that's the same number, and run more of the current through. Now, when you're doing a Kathara healing, you can run Mahara confusion, like we did last night. That's the point where before you stop the healing, even if you have Reiki training or any other type of healing, or you get guidance to work, because a lot of people just get their own, they have their own healing guidance coming through. That's when you use it. You do the Mahara confusion, but then if you get a feeling that they need some balancing, the chakras down here, the chakras up here, if you know other programs, that's when you plug them in. Or one of the things you can look for, it's not in the book because it's not something you have to do to complete this process, but you can, if you're confident in being able to scan chakras, just kind of close your eyes and see people's chakras. Some people can do this and some people can't. This takes a while. All you have to do is, I can teach you how to see chakras, but I don't have to teach you. I simply tell you, you close your eyes and know where the chakras are located on a person's body by the charts that are in the book, and just try to get a feeling. And sometimes you have to slow your vision. If you get no chakras at all and just get a blank screen, that means you have to, first of all, slow your own body rhythms. You have to slow your breathing. It'll help pick up your inner vision. If you don't get vision yet, you can still get a sense of feeling. You may first get a sense of where it feels more high energy in one part of the body and more low energy. You go for the chakra closest to the low energy feeling. So there's a lot of ways to sense where a person might need chakra work. We don't take you through chakra training right here because you really don't need it, and that would be, there's a whole other level. If you want to go into Kathara, that would be about Kathara 3 or 4. We don't have any of it yet because this is the most important. But you can run the Druidic phase 1 current right through the chakras if you can just get a feel for what chakras feel a little funny. Or if a person says, I'm having pain down here, or I'm having pain up here, that's telling you what chakra is being affected, and that's telling you what Kathara center is being affected. So after you've run your basic Mahara infusion, you can then simply keep that current alive, in your hands, and breathe some more in, and go to the chakra that's closest to the region where there's discomfort, or the one that you sense there's something, out of tune with the chakra. I say tune because chakras you can hear after a while, but that's not something you can be trained to do. It will come when your strand activation brings that to you. But you'll start to hear tones with the chakras, and you can hear them. Some sound flat, some you can't sing on key, and that's telling you that there's something disharmonic in them. You simply take the transmitting hand, once you have the currents activated, after you run the infusion, take the transmitting hand and put it over the chakra, and again, use the hand position to block the back of the hand so you're not pulling extra current that you don't want, and simply breathe some of the energy into the chakra. You'll be able to feel again when the chakra is full. It'll push the hand a little bit. A little fuzziness pops back out, like, okay, you're not full. And you may get a feeling then, this one wants it too. So the body will almost lead you when you're working with a client if you realize that it's not your job as a facilitator to know everything in the world about healing, and it's only you that knows anything. You realize when you're healing, you're working with the other person's Christos self as well as your own. You have an avatar level of identity, so do they. You're probably more aware of the fact that you have that part of your identity, even if you haven't met it yet. But the person who's coming to you for assistance may have no idea that they have that level. Part of your job as a facilitator is you have to know that. And when you open yourself to healing, assisting in healing, you basically hail, I call it hailing, the avatar level of the person that has come to you and say, how can I serve here? Guide me with what needs to be done. So your Christos kind of talks to their Christos, your avatar talks to their avatar. And you need to be open to just trusting what moves through you enough, because you may get a feeling, oh dear, there's something wrong with the chakra down on that knee, and I'm supposed to work there. You need to be open to this, because this will come to you. And this is the difference between somebody saying, here's 25 steps that you absolutely have to follow, and that will make you a healing facilitator, period. Don't ever do anything besides that, because you can never trust your own judgment. This is what a lot of programs do, and that's not what it's about. It's about progressively learning how to run the currents you're bringing in your higher consciousness, realizing that there's a whole communication going on between your avatar level, their avatar level. The more you're in touch with your level of D12 consciousness, or anything in between, the higher consciousness you have, the more you'll be aware of the communication going on with the client that comes to you. Some of them won't have any idea that they have that higher consciousness, Doesn't change the fact that it's there. This is also something that's worth considering when we're dealing with anyone. I mean, there's a lot of roles to play on this planet. When people come into incarnation, they take on all sorts of forms. Some may choose gene codes that give them a very special type of experience. Some may choose gene codes that give them a retarded body. You still need to remember, I don't care if it's a cockroach, or if it's a human being that looks perfect and acts perfect, or if it's a human being that looks like they're disabled, or they have retardation, or their minds aren't crisp. And we're taught in our society to kind of look down on people that don't have the facilities that are considered normal. You need to realize something. If you're going to be a real facilitator, everybody's got the same stuff. Even the animals have a connection to an avatar stuff. They won't anchor it in that body. But there's a respect level that's absolutely needed. If you're going to be a good facilitator, you're absolutely dependent on one thing, besides your own self. It's having communication with the higher self of the person who you're going to help. If you have an attitude of, oh, this is a pathetic person, poor thing. Now, pity is not a compliment. All right. You know how sometimes we're taught to, oh, poor pathetic person, oh, we'll take you under our wing and help you kind of thing. This is not a healer's attitude. Pity is saying, you don't have any God presence in you, you're so pathetic, I'll let you get dependent on me. This is not an attitude that's healing, nor is it accurate. So when you are dealing with people, you may have all sorts of people come to you. If you have someone come to you that you try to talk to this way and communicate with this way, it's very obvious that some things are just going over their head or they're not going to get it. Be sensitive enough to realize their level as far as the body goes. Then use your own abilities to project. You can think a thought. You can say, okay, I'd like to communicate this with this person. Well, think the thought and point it in the right direction. Point it toward. You can imagine a big silver ball of light that everybody has all the way around them. Point it toward your outer field and just be open to the impressions that come back. You probably won't get words. You'll get a hunch or a feeling or a motivation. It's called direct cognition. This is how avatars communicate with each other. You can reach that part of the person and you can ask that part, what did you send me for? Why did you send your person to me? And how can I best assist? And this is where you need to trust yourself. Because if it gives you an answer, and you get a feeling, well, I'm supposed to do that, but I wasn't taught that in Kathara. I don't know if I'm supposed to. You need to realize, if you've gone through that procedure, you have your heart shield up yourself, so you're not going to get any weird stuff coming in trying to mislead you. And you've made the attempt to ask their higher parts for guidance on how to help. You have to realize that if you get an urge to go do this, it's probably coming from their input. So you have to trust yourself. You don't have to know everything on the brain level, but you do have to be open to feeling when spirit moves you, and be aware enough to protect yourself to make sure it's the right spirit that's moving you. Okay. So I just wanted to point out that part of the healing process, this is a process you're entering together. Client and facilitator are actually doing this together, and it's helping both. Because every time you run these currents to assist someone else, you are assisting yourself. You are creating healing in your own body by running the currents. So they're doing you as much a favor as you're doing them. So it's kind of like a thing you enter together and understand it. And if you bring your own, each of your avatars, to just the awareness that they're there and that they're really running the show. Like, where did you get your client? Did your client just happen to come to you? No, it was arranged. You will get, in fact, people that come to you that will reflect back to you some of the things you're mostly healing in yourself. This is one of the interesting things about the way Kathara healing works, because it's core template healing. You will draw to you by what's in your template, precisely the people that hold the type of frequency that's in your template. You will represent a symbol to them, and they will represent a symbol to you. And you can get a lot of healing out of realizing what was their problem there. How might I be connected to that issue? Particularly the ones that give you problems. All right, if you have clients come in, you have a bunch that, they're easy, and you're doing really good, and you're feeling really great, then all of a sudden you get a string of people that just drive you crazy. There's something about them, they have really weird attitudes, they seem like they don't like you, or there's conflict with them, or what happened to all the nice clients that came before. I was feeling really confident as a healing facilitator, and all of a sudden the universe is sending me people that I don't know what to do with them. Either they're too aggressive, or they have these problems that I don't know what to deal with. These are the ones that are showing you the most. They're showing you something that's in your own subconscious pattern. You haven't identified that. So what you do is realize you try to work with them the same way as you would anyone else, with a little side note as, okay, as I'm doing this, I'm healing this part of myself. And eventually you'll start getting understandings and connections. You might get flashbacks of when you were 4, and the emotional pattern you just helped them clear was yours from when you were 4. You know? So it's co-generative healing. You're regenerating both of you by doing it, and it helps to be aware of it. So you don't get into the attitude space where one of the most, they say you do as much damage by taking offense as you do by giving offense. But I could almost be offended. I could almost choose to be offended by some ways that people that call themselves healers act and the attitudes that they have. There's one person in Boston that the man was incredible. He had some technical knowledge about, chakras and those kind of things. He would push his wife around and beat her up on occasion. He came up because he wanted to know what our program was, because of course he is important, right? He is going to be master healer. He's very important. He's running real high hertz. He knows it because they're telling him this, right? This guy was amazing. I never saw an ego like this. He was running current, but he was so impressed with the fact that he was running current that he pushed everybody around, and he really felt it. Anybody that's in my presence, I'm gracing you with my presence because I can run current, and you're not running current. Excuse me, error number 1. Everybody's running current, So there's attitudes that are extremely important. If you're going to be a genuine facilitator and not a type of person that you think you're a healer, and anybody that has a brain can tell by your attitude that you're not. You don't want to be that kind of healer. Why bother? So it's just important to realize that attitude is about at least 50% of what it means. Attitude and openness, but also responsibility, where you take responsibility at all times for your own fields. Another thing is you can't fix anyone, just so you know that. You may get somebody that comes to you that has terminal cancer, and you want more than anything to be the one that fixes that for them, especially with somebody close to you. That may be even harder, because you have your own emotional energy to move around with it. If a person, any person, you or anybody else, disease does not happen by accident. The higher identity chooses what it will allow to affect it and what it won't allow to affect it for the learning that's involved. Some people some souls put themselves through horrible things to learn lessons. And you can try to help those lessons be easier. But if it's not the soul's intention, you can't. So when you ask or hail the avatar in a person, and especially like somebody that's really sick or really going through a hard time, simply say, help me to understand and help me to know what to do and what to say. Sometimes knowing what to say is just as important as knowing what to run in frequency. And you also need to be able to deal with death yourself. Okay? Somebody comes to you and you have a fear of death. First of all, if you have a fear of death, you're going to get all sorts of really sick people coming to you to show you that you need to face your fear of death. Okay, you'll get the worst ones on the physical level that are like really messed up on the physical level, that are very close to death, because it will poke at your fear until you face it. See, life is supposed to be faced without fear, but we're taught all sorts of fear-based ideas in this reality, and they lock us in, and we become imprisoned by the fear. It's not the fear that's hurting, it's not the ism that we're taught to be afraid of that's hurting us, it's the fear itself. When we look at death, if you have people come to you that are, you have a feeling. Once you have a few clients and start working with people, there's a certain feeling to an auric field that's getting ready to pull out. There's also a certain thing that happens to the chakras, and you can get an idea of around how close it's going to be by what the chakras are doing. So if you go in and do a Kathara healing on someone, and you get guided to, run a little frequency through these chakras, and the chakras literally, you start to run frequency and you go, and they throw it back out at you instantly. They don't want to take any more energy. The chakras have a reason for not wanting to take more energy. When you start to get your higher sight, which you'll get by working with these currents, it'll start to turn on for you. It's not something that somebody can say, do A, B, C, and D, and there you go, your inner vision's going to pop open. It doesn't work like that. Your inner vision's connected to your DNA template. How fast you activate will be how fast you get your inner perceptual facilities. But once you do, you start to see where people's chakras are. You'll be able to see the little cones, how they go down into the main vertical current. And what you'll see in people that are getting ready to transition is the chakras actually start to get fainter and fainter looking, where they're not strong looking like a normal person's, a person that's not crossing over chakra. And they will literally start to detach from the crystal seals. And if they're really close to crossing, you'll see the little crystal seals in the main vertical current that normally hook the two ends of the chakra together. You'll see the cones detach. And it will usually start with the higher ones, that are the middle ones, up and through here. And then when it's going to be finalized, it will do the ones in the pineal and the ones down here. You need to realize there's a whole process of transitioning. And if people come to you that are close to transitioning, you can help them not be afraid. The most important thing, and we don't get into the death transition in this book, but it's good to talk about, because people will be drawn to you if you want to be a facilitator that need help with this process. There is a dying well process. If a person is in an old body and they have no desire to learn anything about cellular transmutation, and they have no desire to sit and do 26 steps a day to make sure their DNA activates so they might be able to go through a Stargate, if that's just not their thing, that's okay, because their soul probably chose that it wasn't going to ascend out with the body this time. But you can help them tremendously by helping them to transition well. You can also help yourself tremendously with transitioning well. Transitioning well is the difference of what you do with your consciousness. First of all, if you're very scared and you don't know where you're going, and if you think you're going to be dead when you die, this is interesting to watch from the astral level, from D4. When a person believes in nothing, they don't believe there's any God, they don't believe there's anything. Scientists do this a lot. It's like a scientists club. It's like a money's club. Because they cross over and they're absolutely convinced they should be dead. So they act like it. They go into a state of consciousness where they're like asleep, except they're experiencing something. And this is what gets to them after a while. They're still aware of the fact that they're dead. Why am I aware? I should be gone. And they start to get thought process back. So they literally put themselves in like a state of suspended animation for a little while after death, because they believe they're supposed to be gone and dead. But their consciousness is still going, and eventually they're too rational to realize, they start to realize, wait a minute, if I was dead and gone permanently, I wouldn't be thinking, would I? This is when you can start to talk to them when you're a guy, right? Now, they get stuck for a while because of those ideas they crossed over with. The people that are really stuck are the ones that are stuck in heavy religious dogmas, where they're taught that if you were bad, you're going to hell. If you were not too sure if you were bad or not, you're going to purgatory. And only if you were really, really good and followed every word in the Bible or the Koran or whatever book you're following, that's the only way to get to the gates of heaven. If they go through with this understanding, there's all sorts of psychological dramas that they set up for themselves. They'll go through and they'll be pursued by horrible things and creatures and things with pitchforks, right? Whatever image, devil they have. They will go through, some of them will end up in a courtroom. Right before a big judge is getting ready to sentence, bless you. All of these little dramas are not necessary if a person is taught that death is a natural transition. It's not the original form of how we transition as humans, but right now it's what we tend to do unless we get our gene codes mutated. You can still do it well, and you cannot get stuck with the density 1 incarnational cycles. You can still ascend as a consciousness into density 2, so you would be in a whole different set of incarnational cycles at that point. To transition well is simply collecting yourself before you leave the body. This is why, like astral body training, getting out of your body when you're doing it in a hard seal so you're safe, is very good training. Once you know how to get in and out of your body while you're alive, you can just choose when you're going to leave it, But people that don't do astral travel and things, it's a very frightening experience because they don't realize there's anything that exists beyond their body. You can teach people and you can help people that don't want to learn when they come to you if they're dying. You can help communicate with their avatar levels and help to form a ball of energy in their heart chakra. This will almost be like a little travel vehicle that they will be able to root their consciousness into. Now, you can teach them how to do this, but if they're the kind of people, and usually you'll get the kind of people that aren't open to learning. If you talk to them about, oh, you're going to die, aren't you? Well, that's okay. We hope you have a good transition. We'll help you do that. You'll have a heart attack on your floor, probably. So you need to realize that, okay, their personality might not be ready for this conversation, but their higher powers are ready for this conversation. So you can open to receiving guidance from their higher self. Help to bring their energy, just what I mean by bringing it, you're aiming for the heart chakra, because that's where the astral field connects to. That's their first step out. You can use the left hand, which is the drawing energy hand. Once you have the Kathara grid open, you can, only with the attention and the full direction, kind of like you surrender the use of that hand to the will of their avatar, where their body is concerned. You don't make any decision of what you're pulling out of where. You simply allow a magnetic field to come, and the avatar level of the self will release any parts that are ready to start collecting, and to help bring them up into a ball of energy in the heart chakra. All right? And you can do this if the person's laying there and you get the feeling that, oh dear, this is a person who's, getting ready for the physical transition. Simply put out the thought. And when I put out a thought, I put it out from here. Not from here. I think it here. Send it down to the heart chakra. Send it out in the astral field and then point it higher. All right? Put out the thought to their avatar. Okay, just guide me with this. I won't make any judgment calls on it. Just guide me. Allow the magnetic hand to just do a pass over the body. Doesn't matter if it's head to toe or the other way around. And then to stop over the heart chakra. Because if there's anything in there that the avatar self wants to collect and begin pulling together, it will send the energy there, and it will create like a little steam. They're creating a travel vehicle. What will happen is once you create that for them, it will take on a life of its own. It will give an organization to their consciousness as it's pulling out of the chakras. What happens with a lot of people is part of their consciousness gets attached to all sorts of different thought forms. The thought forms that are disharmonic. They have all sorts of confused ideas about death. The personality thinks one thing, the subconscious thinks another. So they literally go into fragmentation, like lots of little balls of energy. Instead of turning into one big ball of energy, they go into a lot of little pieces. Then, when the vibration of the body starts to raise and its frequency starts to drop, the consciousness starts to raise in frequency. You start to feel that separation. The body goes through a natural kind of fear mode. There is a release. It's almost like the same thing as giving birth. If you're a woman, you ever gave birth, there's a point where the body goes, oh my God, I have no control over any of this, right? Where there's like a fight or flight kind of reaction to it, where the body itself goes, Well, once you've built that in the heart chakra, that ball of energy, all those little scared reactions will go toward the ball. And when the transition happens, with death what happens is the body drops in frequency while the consciousness is raising in frequency, just like when you're doing astral projection, except it spans so large that the energetic connection snaps eventually. Like a rubber band, there's too much of a span in frequency. And once that happens, all the chakras close down. All the little seed seals in the chakras completely shut, and you can't get back in the body. That's when it starts its own organic decomposing process. You can help people. And this helps you too, because if you're going to be a healing facilitator and take it seriously, you start to get terminally ill people coming to you, you're going to feel inadequate if you don't know what to do with that situation. First you're going to go, oh, I feel like this person could feel like really dying or something. I don't want to know that. I'm a healer, I don't want to know that, right? Because you want to know that you can help people and you can fix people. Most people that want to heal or help heal don't want to know that somebody's going to be dying. Because you're trying to do the opposite. Just like most doctors, the last thing they want to think about is, this person's dying, aren't they? It's like you almost want to run away from it if you can't fix it. You can get over that by realizing that death, just like disease, is part of the healing process. If we were to be alive forever, stuck down here, in the system the way it is, in bodies that constantly get sick, that's no joy. Sometimes for some people, that death transition is their first taste of freedom that they've had in their whole life this time. So your attitude toward that will help them to overcome the fear of it, even if you can't talk with them about it. Some of them will be open to talking. And if they want to talk about it, that's when you really need to know what to say. Because you can get put on the spot as a healing facilitator and they start to come clean with you and say, well, I was diagnosed with terminal whatever, and, I know I'm going. You can first give a pep talk. Well, don't always take, one or two opinions. I mean, maybe that's true, and maybe, your soul has something higher for you. So don't just surrender. You try to motivate them to want to heal, but don't force it on them. And if they want to talk to you about death, you need to know what to say if you're going to be a good facilitator. If they see you can go, oh gosh, that death word, because you're afraid of it, they're going to close down. You're not going to be able to talk about it either. And neither of you are going to get healing on that level. So what you can do is you can look somebody in the eye and they want to talk about death or they don't want to talk about death. If you know that person has death around them, you need to know that they're protected first of all. And part of the protection is the fact that they were guided to you. Alright? If a person is getting ready to cross over and they don't have a Maharic seal, they don't want to ever hear about a Maharic seal, they know nothing about it. They're going in, it's like going swimming with sharks. They're getting ready to make a transition into the astral, the D4 level. That right now is filled with all sorts of manipulation and hijacking. They can get their consciousness attached to all sorts of things that will get them stuck in the cycles. They can get fragmented enough in themselves where they end up as ghosts here for the next 2,000 years because they can't figure out how to go higher. You can make a difference with this. When you run a Mahara confusion on someone who's getting ready to transition, you are giving them a bridge to their avatar. You're giving them a bridge, or shining a flashlight for them, so they can make the connection when they cross through to their avatar level of self. So part of dying well is not being afraid. Part of it's realizing you can build this ball of consciousness and get it ready for the transition. And build it in the heart chakra, so it goes right into the astral and up. And build it with the Mahara seal, so it goes up. And the avatar level has a line of frequency that can pull it through. If this person wants to know how to die well, if they say, okay, well, what do I do with myself? Okay, I put myself in a ball of energy here. Then what? How am I going to be conscious during this process? Because you can die consciously. All right? This is something most people don't want to know, but you can, and it's worth knowing. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to die asleep. Morning is one of the biggest transitions you get to do in your life, and you're going to sleep through it. What you can do is you be aware of the ball that you're building, okay? And by the way, if you decide that you don't like it here anymore, so you're going to die this body and go get another one, but you realize actually it's an option to do that, if your higher parts don't agree, it won't let you do this. It won't let you pull it together and pop it out and leave permanently. If you have a mission here that you're on a soul level you want to fulfill, if you're getting a little antsy and bored being here on a personality level, your higher consciousness isn't going to let you just say, well, okay, good, I'll do another one because I know I can. You can go on vacation, you can astral project, but you have to come back. But it's the time, and if it's getting to the time, and if, you know what, this is a thing that in the old days, in the ancient days, they used to teach the children, not because children were getting ready to go, but just so they know that eventually, when the time came, if they were going to drop the body, rather than transmute the whole thing, here's what to do with it. So from the time they were small, they would have a little vehicle, a little ball of pale silver light, a little Mahara ball that they keep in their heart chakra. And they would run their frequency on a daily basis, charge a little bit, leave it there. When they were older, and they were getting to the point where they knew their life purpose was pretty much done, and they were getting ready to transition, they would start to do meditations, where they would put themselves inside. They would put themselves inside the ball to get the feeling of the first time, where they didn't even have to take a body image through when they went through. And they get the feeling of sitting inside the heart chakra and this big bubble of energy. And then they would get the feeling, they get trained to, once you get into that bubble of energy, to use breath, because you still expand and contract, even if you don't have lungs to breathe anymore. Your consciousness still expands and contracts. It still has a rhythm. You are still alive. It's just in different form. So you would get used to going into that form while you're still in your body. And you get used to using your expansion and contraction of consciousness to build momentum. And then there is a frequency that the body releases when it's time to let go. That frequency, it's like a little, and it does that, and it's down and through here. You feel it around the third chakra area. Just a little vibration, almost like a tremor, like an earthquake's about to happen, that kind of thing. Once that's sensed, and anybody can learn to sense this if they're not drugged to death when they're, half the time people that are getting ready to transition should have gone a year before, but they've been drugged into, stupor, basically, just to keep the body alive. It's hard to transition consciously when that happens. But if you can transition consciously, get yourself in that little ball, and when you feel that little vibration, there's a push motion. And you push straight up, and you send yourself. You can do it two ways, depending on where you want to go. You can go this way, out, which will take you into the astral field, or you can go straight up, which is the best, because that'll take you into D7. If you die well, you do not get stuck in the incarnational cycles down here. But we have not, all of the teachings on dying well were edited out of the spiritual texts here. Why? So we wouldn't know how to get out. That's what's been happening here. So people are getting trapped over and over in the cycles. If you know these things about the death transition, and if you make some peace with the death transition, to the point where you can realize it's a life transition. You're not dying, you're getting reborn someplace else. Your consciousness is moving. You're changing houses. Okay? If you have all of your fear healed with this, where it's actually something to look forward to, not something you want to do tomorrow, but when you get there, it might be a little bit like, I've never been on a boat before, but I'm going to take the boat and I'm going to go over to this other country that I know exists there. I know the other countries there. It's just a boat I'm a little nervous about. The death transition is like getting on a boat. You're going to ride a wave. And there's a little nervousness there. Even with me saying, oh, not again, I have to die a body again. I want to transmute it this time. I remember, and I came through with conscious memory on some of my death experiences from the time I was born. The most prominent one was wild. I jumped off a cliff. Okay, I was an Indian woman, Native American Indian woman. Or sort of, it wasn't exactly a Native American tribe, it was earlier, it was associated with Viking periods. But our group had been raided, and I had no choice. And it was a suicide. I suicided out, but I was guided to do it because the other choices that were going to be left behind were sometimes your soul will very much say, yes, go jump off that cliff. If they're going to nail you to a cross and rip your insides out, you're going to go one way or the other. Yes, let's do it gentle. So it was one of those. You're going. We either take the hard way or the short way. So I had been guided to jump, and I was very open. I heard my higher self talk to me and that kind of things. And there's a little bit of fear. No. So I jumped off this cliff, and I remember cringing, like my consciousness going, oh. And it's like time starts to stretch and stand still, and that drop that really only takes seconds, it takes forever to your consciousness. You're watching the ground get closer. You're going, oh, get it over with. But something interesting happened where my body started to go down, and another body started to go up. I'm flying. What? And I watched the rest of the body fall right on the ground flat. Didn't feel a thing. Had no connection to it at all. And then a bird flew by me. It was my first conscious recognition. Oh, wow, you can do this. Because in that lifetime, I didn't have the knowledge base consciously that, I just knew what was in front of my face 3D. That was where I woke up and started to realize, oh, wow, there's a lot more to being alive, isn't there? These are some of the things, if you realize it, that you'll have. I mean, you can watch your body kind of, do its thing. And you get a kick out of it after a while, especially if you hadn't realized that could happen. It's like, oh my goodness, look at this. I was so happy. I flew around with birds for a long, long time. In fact, I tried to morph into a bird and that kind of stuff. And I remember somebody telling me, you're not meant to incarnate as a bird this time. You can fly with them for a while if you want to. You can move your consciousness into any form you want to at that point. It's an etheric type form. It's not going to be solid, but you can play if you want to. The big thing is to help yourself and your clients to get over that fear. Help them to develop, even if they don't want to hear about the stories like this. They're terrified. Like my grandmother, God bless her. If I had these kind of conversations with her when she was like, I think, 89 when she transitioned. If I didn't even attempted to talk about that with her, she would go in and she'd rave. Oh, shut up. You don't want to hear it. She was very, very intent on having it be the terrible, scary, fearful way her religion taught her that it had to be. She was just very attached to having it be scary. So I couldn't help her there. But I used to, when I go to sleep at night, I project over to her. And I pretend I was an angel and in the astral. And I'd whisper stuff to her. Actually, I didn't pretend I am an angel in the astral anymore. If we have a job and permission. So there are things you can do. If you can't reach a person on this level, you can reach them by moving through, connecting with their avatar level, and using your own astral awareness. Okay, even if you can't get out of the body yet, where you rip your whole consciousness out of your physical body, so you have a big part of it to run around with, you can use your mentor as your little vehicle. You can put yourself inside of it and point it towards somebody. In fact, send it through the heart chakra if you want to reach them on the astral level. And you can communicate there. Often with direct cognition is the best way. Rather than words, intention. And you will find you shift things out here. You can use this in family relationships. You can use this in your relationship with your boss at work. You can harmonize situations by going to their causal level, because usually things are being caused from conflicts in the higher levels and from the karmic pattern. If you go to communicate with them in the higher levels, you will fix things much more rapidly than trying to communicate with people. Here's some things. The things that if you're going to be a good healing facilitator, you need to be aware of them. And it's also a freeing thing. All of a sudden the universe opens up to you. You've learned enough now where you realize you can put a part of your awareness in that little mental ball that you just created, and you can send it anywhere you want to. And the more you do it, the more you will become aware of what it's perceiving. If you put yourself in it and play with this, it's like riding a bicycle. Once you do it and get used to doing it, you can move. You got your balance, and you can make the bicycle work. All right? You're not going to make it work by reading about it and looking at it. Great. You know how a bicycle works. You know what it's supposed to do. But it's not going to do it for you until you get on the bicycle and go. So I'm suggesting that you explore what the techniques that you have in here in this manual. These give you, they're almost like, okay, here's techniques to take what they lead you to. Learn to trust yourself, because each one of these techniques has things in it that, wow, if I could do that with that, I bet I could do this with this. There's a level of self-interpretation that you can get from here. It will stimulate your own higher consciousness to release what it knows. We're all healing facilitators. We have this knowledge. The knowledge in this book is simply the ancient knowledge put in a book form that each of us carries in ourselves. We forgot about it, so we're putting it in books to remind ourselves. But nobody's giving this to you that it's something you didn't have. You have this information already. So if this can trigger enough in you that, oh yeah, I can run these currents, let it be something where you say, okay, I'll run this. I know myself knows even more how to use this. Get your own level 2 manual done. It's there. All right? You can use these techniques to open up in yourself the next level of compatible data, because you do have it in your cellular structure. And when I say your cellular structure, your cells are built upon the imprint, okay, the scalar template that we talked about, the core Kathara grid. It's held in the Kathara grid itself. Okay? The universe holds this information in digital form in the universal Kathara grid. The galaxy holds its own records. The physical body of a person holds its own records. You have knowledge in a little piece of the universe and the galaxy right within your own body. That knowledge is available to you if you know it's there. And if you use the Maharata current to activate it, to use the D12 current, you're not going to get something coming in on the D4 level saying, hi, I'm I follow E. You know what you may get otherwise. You will be able to connect with the knowledge within yourself. Part of being a healing facilitator or a healer person is realizing you don't have to be dependent on outside sources. If you got dropped on a desert island and there was nothing else but you and an island, and you think you're alone, you're probably going to end up dead, all right? Because you're not going to know what to do with yourself or your body or anything, and you're going to let the loneliness and the fear get to you. If you realize that you're never alone, and there's a whole community of the universe out there that's willing to interact with you, and you have the ability to do it, put up your shield so nothing can infiltrate, you can ask any question in the world and get an answer to it, okay? If you're doing it through the Maharata current, you will get the best answer that you're capable of holding. All right? If there's certain things that you don't have technical knowledge on and you try to get a technical answer, there's nothing to anchor it through. There's nothing to ground it through. But if you realize, if you have questions when you start to play with Kathara healing, and I say play, it's supposed to be fun. You know, the most effective things in the world are supposed to feel good and be easy and be fun. So Kathara can be used that way. If you use Kathara to find more of Kathara in yourself, each one of you will contribute to the healing of this planet, because you'll each bring a very special piece of the knowledge base that goes with Kathara healing. You'll bring it out to the other people, to the morphogenetic field, to the race template, and it will be available to others because you brought it in. Okay? We're all kind of like downloading terminals where there's a main data bank, a big data bank in the sky, and we're little terminals that take off the mainframe. We'll take information off the mainframe and bring it out into other spaces. Just like, how they have offices with a big mainframe computer and they have like 100 little computer terminals that are all plugged into that. We're all like that. We can download information from the mainframe, which is the universe, okay, the universal template. And every time we do, we make that information available to more of the whole down here. And the information you pull, it'll be different from what I pull. So every one of us has a unique gift, a unique part to bring in. And when you're healing, it's good to know that these things are part of it as well. Information gathering, where you can go to your own next level. That's why we have levels of teaching, but we don't go bang, you're a Kathara master, you know what I mean? I zapped you with a secret code, and now you're a master. Go zap other people with a secret code, Some of the healing systems do this. It's like, well, you have no idea what you got zapped with, but you're going to go zap other people with it too. We don't do this. We try to teach you that you are the data banks. You have the knowledge, you have the power. You need a little bit of help remembering what that means. The Kathara program will help you remember. The more you run the currents, the more you'll start to remember what you have to give. But don't ever think that there's something that you have to surrender your power to with it. Kathara teaches the opposite. It's trying to show you what you need to get your power back. Okay? Now, we're going to go into Technique 3. We've talked forever. We'll be after lunch. We'll be Technique 3 good. What you can do for the Kathara scan, if you're in a space where you know your frequency is high enough, you don't have to, the Kathara scan, make the link between the 6 chakras with each person. You can simply close your eyes and scan up and down a person's body and get a feel. Okay. If you get nothing when you do that, it's worth trying to do reconnect with the 6th chakra and run your frequency down through into their heart shield so you get an imprint. But you don't really have to. The more sensitive you get, you can at a glance or even without glancing. I mean, you get good at it, you can out of the back of your head give a reading of somebody's field just by feeling it behind you. All right. So the techniques here are if you're going from not having anything to taking the first step, they get easier as you go. We're not going to do technique 4 with this. We're going to simply say hold in mind when you're going into the facilitation process. Hold in mind an image of the person who, if you're going to be, this is for the facilitators, hold in mind an image of the Kathara of the person. When it comes time to run extra frequency, just hold in mind without making that connection, going through that extra step, and see if you can get a feel for where the dark areas would be in the Kathara grid, that they need more amplification. Because you should be able to. Right now we have a lot of frequency in the room, and everybody's been at a pretty high frequency, so that means you're 5 minutes to what?
Yeah, before you really get into this, you want to have a coffee break and then really get into it, or?
I don't know. You want to?
Keep going. Keep going.
How about right after?
Yes, anyway.
Yeah, we're not going to go healing currents and get them going. Take them with us to the coffee break and amplify them while we're out. Then we can come back and get on the floor.
All right.
That sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to do these off the top of my head, but they always come out different every time. Like when you run stuff and you're just letting it move through, you very rarely get the same words twice, which can be confusing when you're trying to teach somebody a basic technique. That's why I'm reading. Okay. Breathe slowly and deeply for several breaths while visualizing a 4-inch violet dot on the center of the inside of your forehead. Make the color image as strong as you are able. Move the violet dot to the center of the brain at the pineal gland. And then move it upward into the 7th crown chakra. From the inside of your head, moving upward and outward until the violet dot rests on top of your head at the crown chakra. Call to mind the Hierophant symbol, and we're using the 12-pointed 3-dimensional star, pale silver. Visualize the spinning Hierophant stationed 12 inches below your feet within your Maharic shield. And slowly inhale, drawing the Hierophant up through the central body current to meet the violet dot at the 7th crown chakra on top of the head. When the Hierophant connects with the violet dot, visualize the violet dot bursting into a 4-inch vertical pillar of violet silver light. Imagine the violet silver pillar running down through the body and into the earth's core and upward to the 14th chakra, 36 inches above the head. You have activated the violet ray of transmutation. Now, move your attention to the 4th heart chakra and imagine a small green spherical crystal, the green star crystal seal, stationed at its core. This is the green star crystal seal that controls release of 4th dimensional frequency, controls release of phase 1 derated current into the body. Inhale, drawing the violet silver energy from the violet silver pillar into the green star. Exhale, expanding the violet silver energy into the green star sphere. Repeat 2 more inhale and exhale breaths, drawing violet silver energy from the pillar and expanding it into the green star sphere. At the end of the last exhale,
Imagine a green star popping, turning into a spinning green and violet starburst of light.